Shri Harish Bijoor sir to this August gathering of the corporate communication, marketing and media professionals. Allow me to introduce Mr. Harish Bijoor. He's a brand thinker and practitioner operating out of Bangalore. He runs a unique boutique consulting outfit branded Harish Bijoor Consults Inc. Corporation, a brand name which has been consulting presence across the markets of Hong Kong, Seattle, London, Istanbul, Dubai, and other Indian subcontinents. Mr. Harish has spent his career across the aggressive realms of FMCG, telecom, consumer durables. He has been considered as a marketing practitioner and thinker who is ahead of his consumer thinking curve year on year. Harish Bhai is of course a public speaker and who speaks to corporate audience across the globe in the realm of motivation, people management issues, brands, marketing and business at large. He has spoken to corporate audiences across the world for 15,820 hours now. 15,812 hours. I think we should clap for that.
Thank you.
Mr. Harish teaches at Indian School of Business, Hyderabad and Mohali campus. In addition to, I think we have some students also of yours here, sir. I was told.
Lovely. Yes.
So in addition to semesters at overseas business schools in the US and Europe, he has been teaching at the Indian School of Business for past 20 years. Mr. Harish has recently published a book titled Marketing Trends, Smart Insights into the World of Indian Businesses. And he's also currently involved in his second book, which is on core branding. The book is titled Brand Irrationals, A Fundamental Journey into Brand Think. He has simultaneously been commissioned to write a book on customer service mechanism, a very important part of corporate and organization and FMCGs, and at play in the contemporary marketing context. That's most important. Mr. Harish is also actively involved in the research relating to the rural consumer behaviors. In fact, my first introduction was for the rural consumer behavior and rural retail networks and trade mechanism which is at play. The current research exercise he is involved is spans to 6 long years period covering 84,850 consumers across India. Yeah.
No, it's clicking here.
Mr. Harish has published papers extensively on the subjects relating to strategic marketing, branding, consumer behavior, retail networks, rural marketing, marketing research, and trend analysis. He contributes regularly to the business publications on branding, sales, distributions, and related topics. He works on the bleeding edge of brand and marketing work related to the metaverse and Web 3.0. His passion for 2023 is the realm of crafting the purpose statement for businesses and corporate organizations, a space he has pioneered across the world. Now, allow me to briefly introduce about today's subject. The marketing Oolatupalat for the alpha generation ahead. Some of you might have researched it, but for those who are still to be initiated in this, I think most of us know what is Generation Z. These are the people who are born between 1997 to 2009. But the people who are born between 2010 and 2025, you can imagine they may be toddlers or they may be maybe 10-year-old, 12-year-old, but we are into 2020. So this is the Generation Alpha years in the running decade, which is Generation Alpha is ranging from 0 to 10 years or 12 years probably. How this word came is an interesting story. I hope I'm not stealing some of your slides, sir.
No, please.
which may be about Alpha Gen. So the name Generation Alpha originated from a 2008 survey of which was conducted by Australian consulting agency Mackerel Research, and who is generally credited with the coining this term called Alpha Generation. And it is named after the first Greek letter Alpha. So many such interesting topics and facts are there with Harish Bhai, and I would like to hand it over to now Mr. Harish for his today's talk. Thank you, sir, and allow me to formally welcome you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Very kind of you. Ladies and gentlemen, and the teetotalers of Ahmedabad. I promised to say that to a gentleman out here just now. Just to say that it's a pleasure being here at Ahmedabad, and it's a pleasure to be speaking to you at the AMA about a subject which is quite close to my heart. I'm going to be trying to be quite quick and nifty. Hopefully I won't bore you, ladies and gentlemen, with some of the stuff that I'm going to talk about. I'm going to speak to you a little bit from pieces of research that I undertake in the great Indian market, because I do believe India is one of those markets where we learn a lot, and what we learn in India is applicable quite globally all across. So the first thing is, let me talk to you about the subject. It's called marketing Oolatupalat, okay? And the idea is I wanted to pick up a word from Gujarati and say that, hey, listen, how marketing is turned topsy-turvy. And the truth is that, because a lot of us marketing people tend to think that we know everything about marketing and that we are terrific about marketing and nobody can teach us anything new. Now, the strange thing is, everything that I've learned about marketing, everything, except one thing, and I'll tell you what that one thing is, has been turned upside down over the last 20 years. Which simply means to say that if you and I learnt marketing at a B school or wherever, 20 years ago, it's quite likely that everything you and I know is redundant. It's totally out and over. The cycle time of marketing learning is, reducing year on year. And as per a recent exercise of mine, a generation changes every 3.5 years in India, which is crazy. We used to say it used to be 15 years, and then we used to say 10 years, 8 years, and today we're talking about 3.5 years, which means to say every 3.5 years, every new person who comes into the consumption set in the great Indian market is a changed entity. So what are we older marketing people doing? People like I, antediluvian entities, we are thinking we know marketing, and we think we know our consumers, and we think that we are doing right. Unfortunately, much of the stuff that we have been doing isn't working in the markets anymore. And therefore, marketing to an extent is getting a bad name to say that, hey guys, you are also groping in the dark like everyone else is. And therefore, this Oolatupalat, I'm going to speak about some of the few things that we need to consider when we look at new marketing. Okay? So, it's just to say that let's learn every 3.5 years and let's update every 3.5 years. What we don't know is more important than what we know. Ouch! What we don't know is more important than what we know. That's the statement I'm making. By that I mean to say, very strictly speaking, that humility in marketing is the first thing that we need to come into. And humility in business is possibly the first thing that will take us from point A to point B. So, I'm going to not make it academic. It's a dirty habit of mine. Since I teach at a B school at the moment, I've stopped teaching in most B schools except one with 2 campuses. My habit is to get academic. So, this is an evening do. I'm trying to not get academic. I'm going to be as friendly as we can be. Okay? And at the end of it, let me take a set of questions. I'll be a bit quick, because much of the stuff that I'm talking is something that you and I know very well. Okay? Let's go with that. So, the first thing is selling and marketing to the alpha gen is what I'm talking about. I'm saying the madness is in the method. Okay? The method that you use to market to the alpha gen is more important than anything else, because the alpha gen is a completely different animal. The alpha gen lives in your house and my house. Okay? How many of you have got kids in the home you stay? Okay? Who are 10 years and younger, 10 years and younger, okay, 15 years and younger, okay, okay. Now, the thing is, it means to say that if you don't have these kids in your home, how many of you have kids of 10 or 15 years in your neighborhood? Your neighbor has one, okay, yeah, okay. So, it simply means to say that, hey, we are in the midst of this generation, but this is a very big generation, okay. All of you know that November 15th of this year, India hit 1.4 billion population nearly. And the world also coincidentally hit 8 billion people. The earth is carrying 8 billion people, 1.4 billion people live in India, 1.405 billion people live in China, and very soon, in about 8 months of time, we are going to overtake China in their population numbers. 8 months. If you young people work harder, maybe we'll do it faster. It just is a question of saying, listen guys, we are the world's largest populated country. Okay, let's accept that. Let's kind of talk about the alpha generation. Very quickly, circa 2010 onwards till 2025 is the year of the alpha gen. Okay, it simply means every 15 years is the new generation. Maybe in the next cycle it will be 8 years, as I said, 3.5 years. 1 out of 7 people you will meet belong to the alpha gen already. Okay, maybe not in this room, but once we step out into the room, into the real world, AMA is a oasis. Okay, outside AMA, you might step into a place where any 7 people, 7 out of 7 people you meet, 1 belongs to the alpha gen. Are you ready to meet your alpha gen customer is the question, because the customer is a very difficult animal. The customer is somebody who will frown at you if he or she or they. Please remember, you have to use the they now. You can't just say a he or she, and that is one of the lessons that the alpha generation teaches us, inclusivity. How inclusive are you guys? Are you including everybody in it, or are you as exclusive as that old fogey generation out there which would say ladies and gentlemen? So, the point really is inclusivity is one of those big ones as well. Now, this alpha gen consumer will frown at you if he, she or they catch you reading a daily newspaper in the morning. Okay, you pick up your Dainik Jagaran or your Divya Bhaskar or your Sandesh or Gujarat Samachar, you open it, they frown at you. Dad, you're reading a newspaper. My son tells me this. You're reading a newspaper? I said, yeah. How old are you? Now, I don't know, tell him how old, he knows. But the point is, if you're reading a newspaper, it means you are not friendly with the earth. You're reading newspaper, 16 pages, 32 pages, on Diwali day 106 pages filled with ads, and guess what? You're reading all of it. It means you are unfriendly to the environment. To make that newspaper, a lot of tree goes into it, a lot of ink goes into it, a lot of it is stuff that hurts the earth. Ouch. Which means to say newspaper companies are in trouble. Okay. Now, the thing is, the alpha gen are big influencers today in every category. Forget newspaper reading. In every category, they're big influencers. They're big bad brand influencers for their parents and peers. By the way, how many of you have asked somebody in the alpha generation, young kids, saying, which computer must I buy? Anybody asked? No? Okay, when your phone gives you trouble, how many of you handed it over to the youngest person in the house? Okay, come on, the alpha gen is with it. We are out of it. We are without it. Okay, without what, I don't know, but the point is we are without it. The biggest generation ever is the alpha generation, 8 billion people, and I think we are going to be talking about 2.5 billion people in the alpha generation. That's a large number. Siblings of Gen X, Z. Okay, some of you might be Gen Z out here. The siblings, they are your siblings, they are younger brothers and sisters, children of the millennial. Many of us are millennials out here. Many of you are millennials. So let me not include me in that. Born between 1980 and 94. How many were born between 1980 and 94? Yeah, millennials. You are so old. Do you get what I mean, guys? Do you get what I mean? Do you get what I mean? These alpha gen guys are making all of us look old. If you are so old, what the hell am I? I mean, I must be anti-diluvian. They will parent Gen Beta. The next gen that's coming, kids born between 24 and 54 are going to be the Gen Beta at the moment. I've taken a wide band because we still don't know what they will be called in the future. Alpha, Beta, Gamma is where we are going, because we finished Z, now you might as well go Greek. 2.8 million getting born every week till 2025. This generation shapes the social media landscape. How many of you are on social media? Put up your hands. How many of you are not on social media? Put up your hands. Yeah, there's one gent out there, and you're a rebel. The thing is this: if you're on social media, you're social. If you're not on social media, you're antisocial. Now, that's just a joke. The point is this: Social media is all engulfing, and a lot of these kids and a lot of us, all of us are on social media, full stop. How many of you are not on WhatsApp? Put up your hands. Ouch, ouch, ouch. So if you're not on social media, but you're still on digital, which means that you still belong to this generation. They kill traditional media, okay? They are popular culture influencers. They're pop culture influencers. A lot of us get influenced on Instagram. How many of you have looked at something because you saw it on Instagram? Put up your hands. How many of you read the news on Instagram? Ouch, okay. The Nike experience, let's forget Nike experience, I don't have time for that, but they influence generations up and down and sideways. The alpha gen influences generations older than them, generations younger than them, generations sideways. So they're big influencers. They're consumers, they're the future of production, they're the future of marketing, they're the future of distribution channels, and they're the future of media. So all these guys are going to be very, very important people. The alpha gen is the immediate and not so distant future. It's here. So don't think alpha gen is something that's going to happen later. It's already here. A lot of marketeers are actually putting together plans for the alpha gen. I work for a company, a reasonably big FMCG company, and this company has devoted 26% of its budget to the alpha gen for 23-24. 26% of its marketing budget goes there. Huh? That's a lot of money. By 24-25, 57% of its budget is leveraged only towards the alpha gen, just 1 year later. What's the meaning of it? It means that it's a very, very involved situation. Therefore, important to understand them. Important, they're important to business, society, healthcare, everything, education at play. You run, how many of you are in education, running an educational institution? Yeah, yeah, or studying. How many of you studying? Yeah, okay, okay. Listen guys, education getting very heavily impacted. So education needs to reorient itself to that. So I am working on a business plan with a particular institution where I teach, where we are trying to, I am purposely not branding the institution, but simply to say that, you know, at the end of the day, we are trying to say, how is the alpha gen going to appreciate B school education in the future? Okay, what are they going to look for more? Are they going to be more concerned about the canteen and the environment the canteen offers rather than what is taught within the class? And the truth could lie there, by the way, because please note, management education is not about learning management as much as networking within the system and peer-to-peer learning rather than old fogey to young fogey learning and teaching. Okay? So there is a difference which comes by. Organizations need to morph to meet the new needs. You know, every organization needs to morph. Are you mining them? You need to be mining these youngsters and trying to find out who they are. They're currently in school, and therefore none of us know enough about schools because we think school kids are school kids. No, they are future consumers. They are future business platforms, and we need to understand school kids better to market to the future. And therefore, catch them young is a slogan. India, China, Indonesia are the three largest clusters of the alpha gen. India, starting with India, garv se bolo, with pride, we are number one. We're going to be there, and China and Indonesia. So these are three countries, big, big, big on the alpha gen. These markets are going to be ahead of the rest of the world in a very dominant manner. You already see India reasonably insulated from the headwinds of all the negativity that we are talking with recession, the R word, the D word, depression, the Great Depression, 1929, remember? If you really look at it, we're really talking big bad words out in the West, and India seems to be reasonably insulated. Touch wood, I hope that's true. North-South trade is now South-North trade. In the old days, the North used to send to the South, and we were usurped. Now we send there, and we are usurping them. So I think reverse stuff is happening. The sun rises in the east. Yes, it does. And I think we are in the east. And we are going to be talking about a new generation which is going to rock the West in the future. You might want to take the lead and lead the world with the latest trends, and therefore it's important to learn the alpha gen. The alpha gen is tech savvy. Alpha gen is totally on Siri. Alpha gen is totally on Apple, 5G, AI, AirPods, my Harman earpods, which are totally AI enabled. Everything going crazy. The poem I wrote last, I love poetry, I write poetry. The poem I wrote last was on chat GPT. What are you talking? Chat GPT. Essays. Oh God, management school. You know, youngsters, I want to write an essay on something. God, now I have actually put on my evaluation formats, I have to put a crawler to try and see which comes from Chat GPT and which does not come from there. Hey, listen, the great poetry written on Chat GPT, okay, better than some of the poetry written by some of the good poets. Older in mind than ever, okay, in terms of mind they are thinking old, actually they are older, yeah, that is the problem, huh? We used to say 40 is the new 20, huh? Gone are those days. You know what I say now, 9 is the new 18. 9 is the new 18. A kid at 9 is behaving like a kid who used to behave at 18. That is the reality. And 18 is the new 30. This generation talks different, thinks different, dresses different, behaves different, smirks different, looks down at you different. And therefore, we are really talking about a different generation. Up-agers, I call them up-agers, unlike the down-agers of the older years. The Gen Glass, I call them the Gen Glass. They are the screen-agers. 7 screens, okay, starting with everything, starting with your iPhone, going on to your iPad, the second screen, the third screen, the laptop, the fourth screen, the desktop, the fifth screen, the television screen, goes on and on, screen-agers. Multimodals, they are on multimodal format of using anything and everything. They are multitaskers on multimodal mode. Low attention spans, absolutely low. You are talking to them and they are not looking, listening, their mind is going. It is a goldfish generation. You know goldfish? Tuck, 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 tuck. That is exactly this generation. Remote and ubiquitous, info oriented. They are, you say something, they are searching Google immediately. How many of you do that? I know there are people in this room who go straight to Google and check. Yeah, even I do it. I mean, it's straight there. You have to be info-centric. It's a sensorial generation, living for the senses. Everything is sensorial. It has to touch my senses. Come on, yeah. Sustainability and SDG goals are in. Huh? A lot of us don't even bother about SDG goals, but they look for that. Climate oriented, very climate oriented, COP27, climate change, etc., social, global and mobile. A generation crafted by technology and devices. Smartphones, tablet, video games, autonomous vehicles, electric cars, bikes, smart speakers and more. Everything has to be smart, even my speaker has to be smart. The only non-smart entity is, you know who. Brand use philosophy. I use what I am. I use what I am. Okay. I will not touch a newspaper. I spoke to you about. The Alpha Gen believes in brands, and therefore what is a brand? One of the first questions I keep asking people, what is a brand? And most of the time they tell me the brand is a name, a brand is a slogan, a brand is a color, a brand is 20 different things. But my definition of a brand is a simple one, and that's the title of my book as well, and it simply says the brand is a thought. So people ask me what is a brand? I say the brand is a thought and nothing else, nothing more. Brand is nothing more than that, and that is why I titled my book The Brand is a Thought. It simply says the brand is a thought. A brand is any thought that lives in your head, but the complexity is there are 824 brands living in your head at any given point of time if you are an Indian, and an Indian is a very smart guy. Okay. In an American's head there are 526 brands living at any given point of time, okay, and I am not saying anything. If you really ask me, 824 and odd brands living in your head means that is the complexity of branding. As many brands in your head, that much more difficult it is to create a brand in a person's head, and therefore the brand is a thought that lives in a person's head. Complexity is all brands want to be in every individual's head, okay. The Ahmedabad Management Association is not this room, is not any one individual out here, it is not a physicality, it is a metaphysicality. You think of AMA, say, oh, AMA is a respected organization, oh, it is one of the oldest ones, oh, it is run by these very good people, oh, they know what they do. Hey, where does that come? All those are thoughts. So the brand is a thought. You do a physical blood test on an individual, you won't find red label T in their blood test. You do a urine test, you will not find Paytm in it. No, you won't. But brands live in people's minds, And therefore, brands are thoughts, thoughts that live in people's mind, thoughts that live in the clutter in those human minds. 824 brands living in that clutter, rising and becoming the number one brand there is the challenge that you guys look at. So, if you look at it, how do you cater to the alpha generation? Let me quickly cut to that and say that, simple answer, unlearn and relearn, which means that everything that you and I know, unlearn everything. And for the young management grads who are actually students, I tell my class all the time, I tell my class that, hey, listen, stop reading those textbooks which I have prescribed for you in the course content. Just don't read, because these are books which were written about 8 years ago, and none of these work, and none of these theories actually work. And therefore, what's the best way to learn something? By being there, by being at the forefront of it and learning from the grassroots up. And therefore, I am very proud of a place like Gujarat. I come into Gujarat quite often, and whenever I come in, I meet people. I meet people from industry of different. I am not talking only the biggies. I know there are some names from the biggies out here. I will not talk about any of you, because the big brands all of us know. We know the Adani brands, we know the Reliance brands, we know n numbers of brands. But there are brands which we don't know so much about. I mean, there are brands, many of you represent some of those brands. I see Harish Bhai Katrotia out here, and Harish Bhai represents something called Tulsi tea. How many of you have heard of Tulsi tea? Put up your hands. Okay. Now, you know what? There must be about 35% of people who have heard of Tulsi tea. How many of you have not heard of Tulsi tea? Huh? Yeah. So an equal number have not heard of Tulsi tea. That means 70%. The other 35%, I don't know what's happening. But the point is, we'll leave it at that. Okay, we'll leave it at that. Okay. But the point is, hey, listen, Tulsi tea is a brand created by this gent out here, Harish Bhai. I know in Gujarat we would call everybody Bhai. I call Shailesh Bhai. I call all of you Bhai. He's created a brand, and he's created a brand which is a solid brand, and I don't know what his turnover is, but it's crores and crores of rupees. And guess what? He's not the only one. There are many other brands which have done this and created silent creation. Okay. How many of you heard of Sheetal ice cream? Sheetal ice cream. Arey wah, ice cream wale. Now, Ahmedabad is ice cream. Okay, by the way, but the per capita consumption of ice cream is the highest in Ahmedabad. You know that. You know that, right? Yes. Yeah. Per capita consumption of, because that's all you can eat. I mean, Okay. Oh, sorry. I said eat. Okay. The thing is, I'm told otherwise. My young friends, I'm told otherwise, but we'll not go up that alley. Okay. Why my young friends? My older friends as well. Okay. Having said that, Sheetal ice cream. What the hell is Sheetal ice cream? I walk out of this place. I was in Mumbai the other day. I was talking about Sheetal ice cream, and I was talking about Tulsi tea. Okay, both the brands, Tulsi tea of Harish Bhai, Aapki tea, and then Sheetal ice cream. I don't think you're represented here, are you? Okay. So the thing is, yeah, Amreli, and nobody has heard of this brand. Do you know what a large brand it is? Do you know what a state of the art? Absolutely, what a state of the art brand it is. It's come out with a public issue, sir. Yeah. Fantastic. Do you know what you're talking about? You're talking about a killer brand from here. And Harish Bhai, when is your public issue coming out? We'll talk about it sometime. Lekin kya bol raha hu? The number of people who are creating brands of this kind, this is called small is beautiful. Okay, small. I work rural markets a lot. In every rural market that I go into, typically I look for brands. I don't see my old Red Label. I used to be brand manager on Red Label tea, okay. I don't see my Red Label. I used to be a brand manager on, now you'll curse me, on a brand called Fair and Lovely, okay. That's my brand for a while. Don't find Fair and Lovely in the deep, remote, deep rural markets of Gujarat, but I find two brands. Tulsi tea, never heard of you guys. Sheetal ice cream, never heard of you guys. Never tasted you guys in the remotest corners of Gujarat. What's the meaning? It means that small is beautiful. You guys are doing something different. Simple answer, unlearn, relearn, do things grassroots upwards, create markets grassroots upwards, go for it. Some basic reality bites I'd like to talk to you about. 3 bumper stickers, okay, because I'm not making it academic. One, the status quo is not the status quo anymore. Status quo ante, we used to say. Status quo in marketing or in business is not the status quo anymore. The small will rule the world. Ration shop brands will be shunned, which means that my red label tea, sadly today, is a ration shop brand, okay, because everybody knows red label tea. The brand which is not known will be chased, which means you want niche, you want differentiated, you want different stories. Hey guys, these Tulsi tea guys are saying that, oh, we are from Saurashtra. Where in tarnation is Saurashtra? I am from Saurashtra, I am a Saurashtra type of tea. What nonsense. Who wants Saurashtra type of teas? Hey, listen, there are a set of people who want niche. So, Saurashtra type of teas. So, what are you creating? Sheetal tea. I made in the dark area called Amreli. Who says Amreli is dark? Do you know how aggressive Amreli is? Amreli is one of the solid portions of this country. Small is beautiful. From a small town comes the big brands. So, I am really talking pride in rural, pride in the small town, pride in everything that comes by from there. And if I am not mistaken, your brand is also from Amreli. I don't know, something in the water of Amreli, you know, pani mein kuch hoga. There is another malt drink brand from Amreli. I don't remember its name. It's a malted drink which is very popular everywhere, but nobody knows it in Mumbai. I was in Mumbai, I mentioned these 3 brand names, they don't know any of the brand, at least 50% of you know these brand names, that's good. Status quo is not the status quo anymore. Next one, you are not changing the game, dear marketer. If you are a businessman, marketer, you are not changing the game at all. The game is changing you and if you don't understand the game, you are done. Absolutely. 3, everything is getting redefined. And every item in the recipe we have used in the past is changed, which includes marketing, okay. And there is only one concept which is still alive, which is called brand positioning. Al Ries and Jack Trout, that is the only thing I believe. I don't believe any other marketing strategy, philosophy, anything that you and I study at a B, I teach and you study at a B school, possibly. I don't believe in any of it. So, what's happening? Let's see some of these changes. What's changed then, guys? Okay, very quickly, self pleasure is here. Everybody is in the realm of self pleasure. Okay, everybody wants narcissism is out here and self pleasure is here. When it comes to pleasure, self pleasure remains the total norm. Self pleasure is a digital and digitalism reality. Okay, anything on self pleasure is on digital and digitalism. We are engrossed on it, we thrive in it. Society is deep into it at the level of the individual and the family of 4.5. An average Indian family is meant to be 5.5 people. You know that. That's what it says. I've walked into families, never found that half a person, but that's how statistics is. For 5.5 people, all of us, it's about I, me, myself and my family of 5.5. That's what people are concerned about. We remain a hedonistic society. Narcissism is in a big way, and yet society is sensitive. More sensitive than ever before, but selfish sensitive. It's about sensitivity to myself. I'm very sensorial, I'm sensitive as well. Okay. What's changed then? The next thing that changes, the selling channel. Sales channels have changed, my dear friends, dramatically from 1:1 to 1:1. In the old days, if I wanted to sell you this bottle of water, I needed to come and sit in front of you, talk to you, meet my eyes, lock our eyes, and then spend 5 minutes, sell this to you. This was the best way of selling. When you can't sell 1:1, what do? I come behind in a room like this and sell to 100 people. Now, this is the second worst way of selling or the second best way of selling. Because when I am talking to you guys, there could be about 3 of you looking into your phone to look at your WhatsApp message, somebody has switched off, somebody is doing something else. The third worst way, so this is called 1:1 and then there is 1:many, and the third worst way is going behind a television screen and making a bottle of water kind of a advertisement, and this is called 1:all. Okay? And the fourth worst way is selling on the moon. You know, by 2027 we are going to be advertising on the moon. There are 2 companies which are fighting to advertise on the moon. One is Marlboro and the other is Coca-Cola. Marlboro is losing because it will have to put cigarette smoking is injurious to your health on the moon, which it hopefully will not. Coca-Cola is winning. What a lousy thought. 2027, you and your partner of either sex, to be politically correct, are holding hands and walking midnight stroll. You look up at the moon and it says, the moon brought to you by Coca-Cola. What a lousy thought. But the point is, the reality, my dear friends, is that's the worst way of selling. Best way for selling 1:1, second best way 1:many, third 1:all, fourth 1:everybody. Now the thing is, we come back to 1:1. through digital means. Today, I can talk to you direct, never mind who you are, where you are, I know your URL, and your URL gets something fed directly, and I know how to mine your data. I know everything you did last summer, everything you did. One of my clients is Tinder, okay. One of my clients is Tinder. How many of you are on Tinder? Put up your hands. Am I asking, dudes? And do you think people would actually put up their hands? And the older people, please don't look only at the younger people, okay. Yeah, come on guys. How many of you? Tinder is a client of mine. It's Bangalore based. One of the clients that I work with. Very exciting set of clients. I love the kind of cutting edge, bleeding edge stuff they do. Tinder tells me before coming, I just looked up my data sheet. This is all internal, right? This data is not to be quoted outside.
So it is live broadcast.
It's live broadcast. Okay, then I will not talk about data. One of the clients I look at from the external perspective is Tinder. When I look at Tinder, I say that these are people who actually mine data, and there will be an actual number that says that there are so many lakhs of people in Ahmedabad who are on Tinder. Did you believe it? That so many lakhs of people would be there on Tinder in Ahmedabad, but that's the new generation. So if you really look at it, people are looking at it. There's another client I watch very carefully from the outside, and this is Facebook. And Facebook is yet another client which thrives in the Oolatupalat that is happening on digital mediums in a deep and meaningful manner. Tech intermediated. The selling channel is tech intermediated. Totally, everything is tech intermediated. We started with the kirana in the old days. If you wanted to buy a cigarette, you would have to go to a kirana shop and buy it. That was the alimentary canal system of distribution. And the cigarette company would go and send it from its wholesaler to its retailer to the distributor to each of the lots intermediated highly. Now, then we went into the supermarket revolution. Kirana led the way to the supermarket revolution. Big supermarkets came by and they become the big ones. To the e-commerce revolution. Out here in the e-commerce, we said, oh, in 7 days flat, I'll get my stuff from anywhere. How many of you order on Amazon? Okay, another client I watch deeply. How many of you order on Flipkart? Maybe. Myntra. Okay, okay, goes on and on. Okay, e-commerce. E-commerce gobbled it. And then, but e-commerce is so yesterday. There's something called Q-commerce, right? And even before Q-commerce, there's something called D2C. How many of you buy from D2C sites? Direct to consumer sites. Yeah, you can get all kinds of crazy things out there. And guess what? D2C leads to quick commerce. In 3 minutes flat, you will get stuff in Bengaluru. Okay? I'm sure in Ahmedabad, within 10 minutes, you'll get what you want. Swiggy could have an Instamart, which could be an Genie, Blinkit, every one of them is out there. So 10-minute delivery to the 2-minute delivery of WhatsApp intermediated K2K. I say Kirana to kitchen. That's what we are talking about. This is the model of the future. What didn't change in 200 years is changing all too sudden and fast, and that's happening in front of our eyes. Kirana did not change for 200 years. Do you know that? 216 years. Kirana hasn't changed in India. It's suddenly changing now. What else has changed? The operating environment has changed. The political, economic, social, religious and cultural environment has changed. Perma crisis is a norm. Perma crisis. Everybody is in a state of permanent crisis. And the new dictionary word is perma crisis. Okay, that's nice. Brands have burned their fingers in the years gone by if you really look at it. Be cautious. Woke. Woke is so yesterday. Today nobody wants woke. What is woke? Oh, we'll do something stylish so that people will wake up. And that stylish is we'll become social change agents and societal change agents. So somebody goes and does something with Vim liquid. Okay, I was on that brand for about only 6 months, long back. Now the brand manager goes and does Vim Black for men. Have you seen that? Vim Black? Yeah. It bombed like man. Okay, so if you really look at it, youngsters don't like this kind of stuff. Woke is put to death. And Tanishq went through its own issue, you know that, with Tanishq with its TV commercial, which was really gone after sensitively. Sabyasachi was for his Mangal Sutra ad, it was gone. Dabar, Karwa Chauth, I mean, that was hammered. Fab India, Vim, everybody's got hammered. Stop dividing your audiences. This is the mantra I tell people. See, there's an audience here. If I divide you, I'm doing the wrong thing. If I unite you, I do the right thing. Woke divides audiences. don't do work, put work to bed. Marketers are guilty on this count. Stop being divisive, and you know, the divisions we have explored to date are rich versus poor. We talk about, we pit rich versus poor. We put English versus Hindi, Hindi versus vernacular, Hindi versus Tamil, Aryan versus Dravidian, North Indian versus South Indian. What are we doing? We are dividing audiences. Why? Marketers and businesses must never divide audiences, just unite audiences. Do not touch religion and politics and society. And there is a rude thing, I talk to my CEOs, whoever, or boards, I tell them very strictly speaking, don't do all this in your advertising, yeah? Don't try to divide people. The business of business is business. Mind your business. If I want to be even more rude, I say the business of business is business. Mind your own business. Don't go poking your nose into other people's businesses, because you are not a change agent at all. Okay, what else has changed? Fourth is media consumption, digital versus physical. Everybody is on digital mediums now, reading digital, physical is dying, content versus advertising. I mean, you know, people are liking content over advertising, and therefore they are going to digital. Credibility versus incredulity, because a lot of people are saying television news channels give you only incredible stuff, I don't want to use television news. The mega brand endorser versus the micro influencer. Amitabh Bachchan used to be the mega brand influencer. Now when I build brands, I use 40 social media influencers. Instead of going and paying Amitabh Bachchan ji a particular amount of money, I won't tell you how much, you know that how much. I'd rather go to 40 people and pay them smaller amounts of people money, and be more credible in the communication that wants to reach out to anybody. I mean, I have no axe to grind with any brand endorser, but that's what the market wants. Desi revival is here, guys. Everybody is going Desi in a big way. Small is beautiful again. Pride in local movements is coming back once again. Okay, people want to wear local stuff. The dhoti is back in action, and if you look at it, you know, you will see some of our leaders wearing only the dhoti. Rajiv Chandrasekhar is always in a dhoti. Okay, and why is he? Rajiv, I know Rajiv well. He would love to be in his trousers maybe, but Rajiv Chandrasekhar is a good leader. He wants to make a comment to people that I emote with my local style of dressing. Rajiv Chandrasekhar has been educated overseas, but what he does in India is he actually represents the Indian ethos. So India is back, my dear friends. When political leaders start with it, everybody follows with it. So I think good thing that these guys are doing. The Tulsi tea and each of the ice creams I just spoke to you about is Desi revival. The local pride movement is at play. Paris and the 15-minute city. In Paris, everybody says there's something called 15-minute city. There's Hidalgo, who is the mayor of Paris. I met her about 6 months ago, and she has a plan for Paris. She says, in Paris, I don't want people to ride anything or drive to buy anything. They should be able to walk 15 minutes and buy all their needs. So they are recreating something called a 15-minute city. Every precinct of Paris is becoming that. I told her, ma'am, actually in the city I live, it's a 2-minute city. You just get down and I get everything I want. It's not like, what are you talking about? Anyway, but the point is, Ahmedabad is the Maggie city, I am sure. 2 minutes. Learning distribution humility from rural markets. I think we should learn how rural markets are penetrated. We learn from there. What else has changed then? The sixth is the green gen. Everybody is talking green. Green is the color that's in. Assessing environmental impact is in. Extremely critical to assess environmental. And the carbon footprint, keen examination, ESG goals is a part of the DNA. Packaging is under question. People are asking, must you drink water out of a PET bottle? A lot of people are asking questions, okay, and the brand out here is called Clear, okay. Must you be drinking out of this, or must you be drinking out of something else, okay, plenty. The branded versus the no brand store. Oh, I was in Berlin just after COVID, and I walked into a store and I was looking around and I see this nice store. It says the no brand store, no brand store. Walk in there, cornflakes is available in brown paper packets, 100 grams, 500 grams, 1 kilogram. Sugar in brown paper packets. Everything is written cornflakes, sugar, wheat flour, okay, almond flour, some milk, almond milk, vegan something else. No brand name at all. I of course had a fight with that guy, because I looked up at his board, it says the no brand store, and it's saying registered trademark. Okay. So, obviously, but what I am saying is the brands need not represent the be all and end all. I just spoke to you about big brands versus small, and the same thing is this. The kintsugi mindset, broken but whole. How many of you have understood kintsugi as a Japanese philosophy? Kintsugi, I would urge you to read it. Kintsugi, broken but whole. Something that's broken is more precious than something that's whole. Yeah, aren't we all broken people? Aren't we all precious people? We are a function of our life experiences, and life is never whole. Similarly, brands represent the same darn thing. The hero companies of today are not the big ones who pollute, pollution oriented companies. They are big companies which pollute. The hero companies of today are those who clean up. It's the small ones who clean up. Okay. So, there is a DG set industry. How many of you use DG sets in your production facilities or wherever? Huh? No? DG sets? No? AMA uses DG sets? No? Whoa! You know, Shailesh Bhai has just plugged Greater Gujarat. Huh? Absolutely. Very good. But a lot of places there are DG sets, digital generator sets, which actually pollute the air, and some of the big multinational corporations are in that business. Okay. Will not take names for obvious reasons. But the point is, big multinational companies, DG sets, polluting the earth, and here is this small company from Pune, and it is called Pi Green Innovations. Okay. And I work with them on some stuff, a client company of mine. If you look at it, what does Pi Green do? It makes another set, and this set cleans up. You just fit it to the DG set, and it cleans up the whole thing and creates a small little black powder and cleans the environmental air. What are you talking about here? Guys, the winners of tomorrow are companies like Pi Green Innovations, whereas the non-winners are the people who don't rectify the wrongs that they do in society. Okay. What's changed then? Seventh one, the emergence of purpose. Hey, purpose is big stuff, guys. I'm going to close in about 3-4 minutes. The purpose of emergence of purpose, the target is dead. In the old days, we'd say target in businesses. Target is important. Okay. And then we went into a highly fashionable thing called mission. Target. Yeah, target is okay, but mission is important. With what mission are you going behind the target? Hey guys, grow up, get unfashionable. Vision is dying. Vision. Then they said, no, mission is not important, vision is important. Vision is the doorbin sight, distant vision. What am I working for? All that is out of fashion. Target, out of fashion. Mission, out of fashion. Vision, dead. DED. Long live the purpose. Purpose. People are wanting to discover purpose. What's the purpose of your business? And this happened post COVID, by the way. Okay. I've just written a paper on this, which hopefully shall be published in another 2 months. You can catch it on my Twitter handle or something when it's published. If you look at it, I'm talking about purpose, and purpose driven by the COVID pandemic, because COVID made us lock ourselves in our homes, right? For how many of you COVID was a traumatic experience? Please put up your hands. Okay. How many of you lost a near or dear one during COVID? Okay. Do you know the numbers? That represents about 25% of the audience. Okay. COVID locked us up. How many of you lost opportunities due to COVID? I did. I went on webinars. I am normally a speaker physically. I love the tactile, but I did some 526 webinars during the COVID 2 years. But I hated it, those small little boxes where you do various things. Long live the purpose. Purpose emerged out of COVID trauma. COVID locked us up in our houses. In the old days, when I was growing up, my granddad used to say, young man, yes, once upon a time I was young as well. Young man, go out there and discover the world. The world is your oyster. You know what I kept telling my children? The oyster is your world. I kept nagging them. The oyster is your world. Your home is your oyster. You're locked in here. Everything you have to do here. Okay. So, if you look at it, it was a traumatic experience. So, that changed it. What has changed? 8, the tech-led marketeer. Tech-led marketeer is here. Everything is firstly data-led. Data is 8. Okay. I was at one of the companies out of Gujarat in Mumbai recently, and they used to always say, data is the new oil. They're a big company, huh? I won't take the name, from Gujarat. Data is the new oil, and they're big on data and all that. Data is the new oil. I said, no, sir. Data is the new alcohol. It is the new alcohol. It makes you heady. So heady that with data you can do, you won't know what alcohol is. Sorry, you guys. But the point is, alcohol is something, you want me to define? No, 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 no. Okay, okay. Everything is firstly data led if you really look at it. Data is not the new oil. Clive Humby was the one who said data is the new oil. He was a British mathematician. Okay, in 2006, he said data is the new oil, and it became a big, big thing. I, in 2022, say HB means I, okay. Data is the new alcohol, because it is, if you look at it. The so-mo-clo-lytic era is here. So-mo-clo, it's something I coined long years ago, about 12 years ago. So is social media. So, mo is mobile. Clo is the cloud. Lytic is analytics. Depending on the event, I use one of the other terminologies. Lytic, AI, AR, IoT. Keep adding on. If you really look at it, each one of these is actually creating, regenerative AI. Add that also to it, because that's the latest thing. And it's really, this is what's driving the world of business and marketing. If you don't understand any of these 8 changes, then we are not where we must be. I've tried to portray these 8 changes to you today, so that you can read a little more about it, think a little more about it, experiment a little more about it, and create new ways of doing things. There are lots more change. We don't have the time for this, not this time. For now, let me take an irreverent take on this connected tech-led generation of marketing we live in and leave. Here's a parting swipe. I call it the network of the living and the digital. Let me assure you, my dear friends, many of us don't know where our body ends and the digital device begins. Many of us don't know where our body ends and the digital device begins. We are becoming very, very interconnected. How many of you have got WhatsApp anxiety? If your WhatsApp doesn't ping, you wonder, is my phone working or not? No? You won't accept it, right? You won't accept it. Kaun accept karega? Thank you so much. What's happening? What's happening? My phone, is it, just give me a ping. Guys, this is the reality of the future. The device is becoming a part of us. Of course, we are going to have these devices implanted into us as implants later than sooner. But I call it the network of the living and the digital. This is what we live. It's an irreverent take. Analytics, data, and digi-living today, it's a promiscuous life. I call it a promiscuous life. My phone sleeps with my refrigerator. I have a phone. I work with a tech company, will not take its brand name for now, because I know what's happening. Oh, we've hit 7:30, so I just wanted an alarm to say this is my time to close. I'll just close to take 2 more minutes, because I had said I'm going to close at 7:30. So if you really look at it, my phone sleeps with my refrigerator, in the sense that on my phone I have an app which tells me exactly how many eggs I have in my refrigerator as of today. I'm here, I live in Bengaluru, and it's connected. It's got a small little chip, and it says that it's got 8 eggs. Okay, I have a 24 egg holder, but this tells me that I've got 8 eggs there. And now, why should I know how many eggs there are? Because eggs are an important part of life. Surti eggs, and yeah. So eggs are a very, very important part of life. Now the thing is 8 eggs. Now the moment my eggs reduce to 4, I've set a stuff. My phone, my refrigerator in Bangalore is sleeping with my phone. I know data, what's happening in my refrigerator. I know what my refrigerator did last summer. Now, my phone sleeps with my refrigerator sleeps with my grocery store. I've got a Samsung refrigerator which got a small little chip in it. Okay, another client let's not take names, whatever the refrigerator company is, it's got a chip, and that chip sleeps with my grocery store. I've got a grocery store downstairs, won't take that brand name, it's a small retail brand name from Coimbatore. It actually sleeps with that because my chip talks to my grocery store and sends an order to the grocery store manager's mobile phone and his comp saying send 24 eggs, because by the time it goes down to 4, he should 24 eggs. My wife and I both work. When we come back home at around 8 o'clock in the evening, today I am not going home, I am staying in good Ahmedabad. If you really look at it, by 8 o'clock, there are 24 eggs at my doorstep. Who ordered the eggs? My refrigerator ordered the eggs. Why? Because it's a smart refrigerator. Who authorized it? I. I've also authorized a Paytm plan for my fridge. I've kept a limit of 1000 rupees because I still don't trust technology. We don't know what can happen. But you can set any limit. You can go up to 10,000 limit as of now. Okay. My payment is made to the shop. Otherwise, the guy won't send the eggs. It's come and landed up in my phone sleeps with my refrigerator sleeps with my grocery store sleeps with 40,000 customers' phones. He's got 40,000 customers. My grocery store sleeps with 40,000 customer phones data. We're talking data. See the promiscuity of data going on. Huh?
It's an orgy.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Absolutely. Absolutely. My grocery store, my customers sleep with credit cards. My customer sleeps with credit cards. That is his customers. Shop's customers, everyone has got a credit card. Their credit card data is available. They pay on credit card. Data upload, download is happening. So there's interactivity with data. My customers sleep with credit cards. My credit card sleeps with my bank because every credit card is issued by a bank. My bank sleeps with my rating agency. I won't take the name of the rating agency. It's got a 4-letter abbreviation. My rating agency knows everything. That means what you said, sir, I will not use that word, but whatever the word was, my bank, no, nothing wrong with it, sir. My bank sleeps with my rating agency. My bank sleeps with my rating agency, and my rating agency sleeps with my insurance company. Because with the actuary team of the insurance company, it sleeps with the data population and data copulation. Now I'll use the word, sir. Sir, I've used it academically. Yeah, okay. Data population and data copulation is going on in a huge cycle. My insurance company sleeps with my car because my car is insured with that company, and my car sleeps with my car company. I won't put the name of my car company. My car company sleeps with Aadhaar because when I go to buy, anybody who goes to buy, they have to put Aadhaar data. There's data population going on. Fortunately, Aadhaar is protected data. My Aadhaar sleeps with my PAN card because we were all told you have to link the two of them. And my PAN card sleeps with my jeweler. Whenever I go to buy jewelry more than 2.5 lakh of rupees, I have to show my PAN card. My jeweler sleeps with Facebook because he is on Facebook. And guess what, guys? Facebook sleeps with Cambridge Analytica. If you really look at it, this entire data cycle is a process. My friends, ouch is what I say. Ouch is what I say. And no one knows, no one knows, but I know what you did last summer. An outside client like Tinder knows a lot more about you than anyone knows about you, which means to say your parents know you that much less than Tinder knows you. Yeah, your spouse knows you that much less than Tinder knows you. Your phone knows you that much less than your spouse knows you, because your phone is on 24/7, is held closest to my heart, is opened and viewed at much more, touched that much more than anyone else we touch. My dear friends, no one knows what's happening, but the reality is, think who do you sleep with really. Ladies, gentlemen, it's been such a pleasure. Thank you for your time, for your patience, and I'm sure we won't have time for questions, and therefore if you don't have time for questions, you're welcome to mail me at harishbijoor@hotmail.com, and I promise to, and if you say you were at the AMA conclave, meet today, I promise to reply to you within 24 hours. Okay? Such a pleasure being here. Take care. God bless. Thank you.
We have 5 minutes for questions. We can have 2-3 questions, sir.
Yeah, sure. Alternately, you can always catch me on any of these
Certainly.
sites. Yeah.
So open for questions. Anyone?
Yeah, please. excellent question. Excellent. I'm sorry, what's your name? Jinal. Okay. Jinal, that's a lovely question. Because the idea simply about a brand is to become bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. Every brand aspires to do that. Now the thing is, one brand, if it becomes bigger and bigger and bigger, it becomes a Goliath brand. Okay. So I divide brands into two categories. One is called a Goliath category and the other is called a David category. Every Goliath category has got a David category. Okay. So if I go back into the realm of Fair and Lovely, Fair and Lovely was the Goliath category, and then Fair and Handsome was possibly the David category. Now the David can't do the same thing that Goliath is doing. Okay. If David wants to grow bigger, then David has to do things very, very differently. But the objective of all brands is to grow big. Okay. So the thing is this, you're in David category where the big guy is dominating the situation, David, and then there's Goliath, and he becomes bigger and bigger. When Goliath becomes the size of David, Goliath will die. So I have a theory which says that brands are cyclical entities. They're cyclical entities. Every brand category goes through a cyclicality, and the cyclicality is, in my book I've titled this to be the brand to brand to smithereens kind of a concept. All brands start as a commodity. Put it here, and I'm drawing a circle like this. Okay. Commodity is it. I start as a rice. Okay. Oh, I started as a coffee, let's say. I'm a coffee. Coffee is a commodity. The second thing is I become instant coffee. It's a type of coffee. That is called a quasi brand. The third cycle, it becomes an instant coffee brand, Nescafe, and that's a brand. And then after being Nescafe, the brand becomes a quasi brand again. It becomes generic, because Nescafe is so popular that I remember I used to head up marketing at Tata Tea, and Tata Tea we had launched a brand called Tata Cafe, okay, at that point of time. I went into the markets in Delhi and I said, my own salesman, I had done a 2-hour briefing for them at the Taj Mansingh or something, and the next day they are all going, I am walking with the salesman, and the salesman goes to the shop dealer fellow retail and says, Saab, Tata ka Nescafe aaya hai. Tata ka Nescafe aaya hai. Arey yaar, what are you saying? You are making me into generic. That is the quasi brand strategy again. And then from the status of being a quasi brand, you become a commodity. It's like this, from dalda to dalda to dalda. Dalda is once a commodity which is loose form, then it becomes a category of a hard vanaspati, and then it becomes a brand called dalda which comes in a yellow tin with a green palm tree on it, and then dalda becomes generic, and then finally dalda has to be bought by Bunji at such low valuations because it's become too generic. From Xerox to Xerox, from dalda to dalda, from ashes to ashes, from dust to dust. So I think extremely critical to say it's all about life cycle. At different points of time, brands will find them at different trajectories on the life cycle. You have to calculate for your particular category where you are, but you should never lose the ambition of becoming bigger and bigger. The brand which thinks that I should become smaller and smaller because I want to be a niche is gone. I mean, is gone. So I kill brands also. People ask me, what do you do? I say I'm a brand doctor. I give birth to new brands. I take care of brands after they are born. I take care of brands which are 15 years old and struggling. I also kill brands. Okay. I've helped kill an overseas brand out of Italy by milking it slowly and killing it slowly with my love. The idea is killing it slowly, because you can milk a brand out, but that is a wrong strategy. That's because the company wanted it killed. No brand wants to become smaller and smaller. Everybody's ambition should be bigger and bigger, and to get bigger and bigger into being into that status of the big brand. But when you become big, split. So what do I do today? I break brands into bouquets of offerings. I say that one company must have not one big brand, but that company must have 8 small brands catering to different life cycle needs and wants of people in that brand. Okay. So let's take a brand called Tinder. Tinder must not be one. Tinder must be a brand for the old fogies of 25 to 35. Okay. For the 35 plus, there must be a new different brand from Tinder, but not called Tinder. For the 50 plus, for the 70 plus, Tinder must have something else. Now, this has been attempted in the category by Bumble in many ways. Okay. Bumble is for women, Tinder is for someone, Grindr is for someone. So, every category has I mean, it's a bouquet. So, offer a bouquet of brands, not one brand. Then you have a different relevance for different people, different strokes for different people. A very long answer for a very short and important question. Thank you.
So while you were discussing, you mentioned that when we are marketing, we should to the audience, we should basically have a strategy of inclusive audience rather than exclusive audience. In this era where we are more or less working towards digital marketing, the first thing what we categorize is that we separate and split our audience in a way that where we exactly hit doing the digital marketing. So I just want to little more explanation from you.
Got it.
How we
Got it.
do this.
Got it. See, one of the early things that we learn is called segmentation, targeting and positioning. So, if you really look at segmentation and if you look at positioning, okay, positioning is very, very important here. The classical definition of positioning, and this is the only definition I believe in marketing. Everything else I do not believe, and therefore, I have created my own definitions, my own concepts with which I work with clients, because the idea is that you have to be differentiated because marketing has changed over a period. Classical definition of positioning is this, and that is exactly what you are following in digital. Brand positioning is the exact pinpointed position. Brand positioning is the exact pinpointed position a brand, one brand occupies in one consumer's mind at a given point of time in relationship to all other brands in that person's mind. So, what am I saying here? I am saying if you are doing digital branding, digital marketing, brand positioning of one offering is one position in one consumer's mind at a given point of time in relationship to other brands in that consumer's mind within that segment. So, what you are doing is I am segmenting the whole darn thing. And what is segmentation? I am taking a pizza, I am cutting it into 6 different pieces, and each of these 6 different pieces has got a different character, and for each of those different characters I must do a different thing. So, what do? I do it commonly. I take a pizza, I cut it into 8 quarters, let us say. On each of those quarters I put a different cheese. I put a brie on some, I put an Emmental on something, I put cheddar on something, Gouda on something, and then I put it into the oven. One digital oven bakes 8 different, one pizza with 8 different tastes, and out it comes. At our restaurants, I mean, I have used the same idea in restaurants, okay, about 10 years ago. We started doing multi pizzas, because pizza is a boring thing, right? It is a large pizza which comes out. I mean, you want to eat the same taste. If you are one person, you are going to get bored. If you are 2, you are going to fight with one another. The thing is, you do multi pizzas, every slice you pick has got a different taste. In digital marketing, I use the same philosophy, and I do different strokes for different people with one offering. Can you do that? Can a salmon swim upstream and downstream at the same time? Traditional brand thinkers like David Archer will tell you, no, the brand must be pure. It has to have only one story. Nonsense. A brand can have 8 stories. One brand, 8 stories. Aren't we like that? Are we all one story? No. We have 8 different stories. We are all Jekyll and Hydes, even though you will not accept it. Many of you will not accept it. But the point is, we are Jekyll and Hydes. For every different situation, we are a different person. We are wearing masks in front of our faces. How many of you do not wear masks in this room? We are different people. I mean, do not even answer that. I do not want lies. Okay. The thing is, we were different people. I am something for my wife. I am something for my boss. I am something for my subordinate. I am something for my neighbor. I am something for my neighbor's wife. And stop laughing, I will come and hit you. I am something different for everybody. And मेरा नाम क्या है? Harish Bijoor. Harish Bijoor? I thought you are Harish Bijoor. Yeah. Dasha avatar, 10 avatars, For different people, different things. For my son, I am something different. For my daughter, I will be something different. What the hell, yeah? I mean, who are you? None of us know who we are. Digital marketing, I use this philosophy as well to say that, hey, this alpha gen is going to need this. Different strokes for different people at different points of time, with different affiliations, with different servings and different slicings of the same way. Fortunately for me, digital technology, as you know better than I do, helps me do this. I am able to use 8 appeals in one piece of advertising, one advertising 8 appeals. I am able to serve it also differently. Amagi media will give you the ability to serve that. Forget media, television, forget OTT, think digital, man. I mean, this is a crazy space we are in, crazy space, and we can do anything. So, long live the future on that score. Yeah. Okay, guys, thank you. Such a pleasure.
So unlearn and learn, relearn, unlearn and relearn. What insightful, deep and crisp presentation. तालियां हो जाए जोर से एक बार हरीश जी के साथ में. Thank you very much, sir. We are so deep delighted. As he says, we have to do things in the grassroots. We have to create markets. We don't go with the markets which have been created by others actually. Status quo is not a status quo anymore. Niche and different you have to be actually. So each brand should think of new markets in a niche markets where nobody has reached or nobody has thought of. You are not the game changer. The game is changing you, and I fully agree with him, sir. Every second day we feel and we realize that by the time you learn the rules of the game has changed actually. So it is changing you. Yes. We take pride in a small and rural market, definitely. That's where the India lies. Everything is getting redefined. There's no doubt on that front actually. Self-pleasure driven is the society, and we all must agree and endorse the fact that it's digitalization is the reality. We are selfishly sensitive, as you rightly said. And it has converted into a society, which is a sad part of it, I would say, but that's the truth. So we are into full cycle from one-to-one marketing, to one-to-many, to one-to-masses, probably one to universe, and back to one-to-one in the digital world actually. As PR managers, communication managers, we used to take pride in being crisis manager once in a while, but now crisis is permanent. Everything. And with this digital world, my friends who are into digital world, they know that every day, every moment, they are keeping an eye because the crisis erupts any moment, anything basically. But I like the word that India is back, sir, and it's India's growth story. The population, we may call it a curse, but it's a boon, because we are producer market and we are the consumer market, and that's why many of the countries in the different continents which are suffering, we are actually insulated out of that actually. But we must learn to we must stop being divisive, because that's where the fall may happen actually. So it's been wonderful listening to you, sir, and I'm sure everybody is in awe with you. And on behalf of AMA, I thank you so much, sir. AMA at AMA, sir, we promote exchange of ideas, knowledge, experiences in the principles and practice of management, and that's the beauty of it. Every week we turn out programs after program, and many of them alumni have taken big strides in the bigger corporates and bigger organizations, and that's the beauty of these organizations. So thank you one and all, and I'm sure you would like to take pictures with Harish Bhai or take questions with him. So we have next 10 minutes with you. Over to you, sir.